Right. I just would like to see if I could share my screen. Here it is. Fabulous. All right. Welcome to our first pick a card reading. We are going to look at current moment. And on this Venus day, I have my Magdalene, Mystique of Magdalene, and Sacred Symbols Oracle. So before we begin, I would love it if you could just pick a number, 1, 2, or 3. Not sure if this is showing you everything. Oh, my nose is twitching. I would like to anchor us after you've picked your number into the 5th, 6th crystalline core of Gaia, up through the astral to the crystalline grid. I am only channeling my own energy, and the energies that are not my own must exit my energy now. And so it is. All right, welcome to our reading. So to start, the overlying energy is transformation. We got Queen of the Sun, which we see a full moon here, and we have one upcoming on this Sunday. Queen of the Sun is saying that you can focus intentionally on what you would like to grow, and affirming it as it's growing, affirming it as it's developing will allow for the energy to be more conducive to the changes that you will inevitably have to make. We know that Jupiter just moved to 12 degrees Gemini. So let's look at this inside degree as you reflect on your question and even what you are seeking to grow. Many huge urns filled with wheat, outrageous infinities of riches to share, accessing these in stages, always having more than enough and then still having more again. Good fortune, prosperity, outside and in. You bear gifts and talents, treasures and marvels, multidimensional, simultaneous, celebratory, expanding to meet the need, tapping the universal supply and touch with the boundlessness of existence. All of this comes so naturally and effortlessly to you that the challenge is to value it, to honor it, to realize what is happening. Being this way is so fertile with promise and hope that it can dissipate into schemes, or it can come back to life as the real thing of your being granted the orchestrator, coordinator, mediator gift, being offered by spirit, whatever you need to open up futures and expand possibilities wherever you go. So our first card is 45, New Moon. That's number 1. Number 2, we have Healer. And our third card is Veiled. So I will add time frames for whichever card you've picked. And let's start with New Moon. We have Salome, Ecstatic Dance, 5. So this does speak to Gemini. It speaks to Mercury. Mercury currently is at 24 degrees Leo, asking us to express our creativity, our artistry in ways that we may not be familiar with. So if you have the capacity to attend an ecstatic dance on the upcoming new moon, which will be, let's see, in Leo, or July 5th, that was the last full moon in Cancer. So you can even think back to July 5th to see what you were processing. And Sunday, August 4th, the new moon in Leo will also enter us into Mercury retrograde. Mercury's in shadow. So it feels that this message is asking for whatever creative projects you are working on now. Maybe it's time to tap into something aligned with that, but in a way that you haven't yet tried, in a pursuit that is new to you. So for me, for instance, I knew that I wanted to do pick a card readings likely since about 2017, and this is my first go at them. So we will pull in the Magdalene deck. There is a reading with 6 cards, and it's a relationship spread. So this is either a relationship to a person with which maybe you've met them on a new moon. Maybe you're wanting to seed new energy into the union. And the first card being your soulmate. So ecstatic dance. And this feels like free form creative expression. We see the full moon, so it feels like there is a cycle that is emerging with your soulmate, with what you're meant to be doing on this planet, with who you're meant to be with. Oh, we have Jeshua, card number 2, past issues. The power is within you. So this feels like maybe giving our power away or being manipulated, taken advantage of. In previous cycles, it feels like with Chiron at 23 degrees. Let's look at that inside degree. Chiron, 23 degrees, Aries. Just an intuitive look, a bottled labeled drink me. Okay, got to get into this. The force of events sweeps away who we thought we were and plunges us into a deeper place beyond the known. The sheer immediacy, the sudden clarity shifts mountains of intent into a different octave altogether. Being taken by storm is the most direct path from here to there, and when cosmic worlds are urgently coming through, the only smart thing is to step aside to make a huge amount of room for unexpected guests at events you could have never arranged in your wildest dreams. All right? So that was your past issues, and maybe it's like you were in a whirlwind of meeting new people, taking steps forward in a union, taking steps forward with a business, with a network. But we have to ask ourselves, this is card number 3, future path, emerging from the shadow, reveal what is hidden. So you may want to stay tuned for that veiled reading as well. And that's a 6. So it feels like there is an artistry that has to come out. You have to stop hiding it. And it's something that you will know specifically if you've picked this reading. It's time to speak your truth. Don't hold back if it will benefit or liberate others. Bringing the truth to light is likely to bring release and enhance your well-being. Beautiful. Oh, there's a quote from Lamentations. The hidden queen was unacknowledged and so became black or hidden. There are countless examples in the Bible where people are referred to as being black as a way of saying concealed. For example, the princes of King David's line were symbologically black, meaning unrecognized. Their princes were brighter than snow and whiter than milk, but now they are blacker than soot. They are not recognized in the streets. Lamentations, New English versions 4, verses 7 through 8. This is how the exiled queen and princess became symbolized as the Black Madonna so prevalent in Europe. She was the unknown bride, the hidden queen. Worship of her eventually led to the Inquisition as the patriarchal church tried to bury her. The heretical knowledge of the beloveds was kept alive through art, symbols, plays, and literature for those with the eyes to see and the ears to hear. The power of truth is at work in your life, shining through the cracks, ready to burst forth and dissolve the shadows. Your qualities will be honored and authenticity will rule the day. Love this for us. Okay, so 4 is things to be resolved. Now, I'm sure that with Jeshua emerging from the shadow and ecstatic dance, there's going to be a blatant direction that this reading is taking for you at this time. So ask what needs to be resolved or hold that image in your mind, something that maybe has been bothering you, has been holding you back from feeling really good about your daily life and who you're becoming. Ooh, we'll pick this one. Hope and illumination, hold the light. Okay, I think we picked the next card. So that's 16 netting to a 7, and Neptune and Saturn in Pisces also point to that. So it's allowing for us to see where we haven't yet completed a cycle in our life, where we've been waiting to manifest something and then always pulling back. So it's like that concept of the shoreline always changing. And maybe we've approached and gotten really close to fulfilling a vision, a wish, a dream. And we are finally aware of what needs to be resolved with this hope and illumination card. So what does Magdalene have to say about that? Holding space for others can be exhausting and sometimes a thankless job. Remember to take time out for yourself to process your feelings. Mary Magdalene's exile in Egypt must have been a difficult time for her. It's said that Joseph of Arimathea was her guardian, and other family members were with her all those years, but she would have had to bear being separated from her bridegroom while she remained in the third density realm. In Egypt, Mary birthed her child in secret so the Davidic bloodline could remain hidden. Her teachings would help hold the space as she was physically, mentally, and emotionally present for others. Holding space means putting your focus on someone other than yourself and supporting them as they explore their feelings in a loving, non-judgmental space. Mary was able to raise her frequency and meet with Jeshua on other planes, such as the sacred marriage chamber of Hieros. Here, their souls would joyfully reunite in the embrace of the true light continuum. Holding this presence illuminated her for all to see and feel. In this way, others experienced their sacred love. Have the patience to stay in a place and wait quietly for a while. It won't be forever. In the painting, the dove sleeps, and while waiting for humanity to awake, the flame burns clear and bright as a symbol of hope. I mean, it's pretty amazing that you've got both Jeshua and this hope and illumination card, and they both net to a 7. So it is speaking of this project yet to be fulfilled. And it feels like if you're willing to take a step towards fulfilling your project, your divine counterpart will also be able to fulfill their mission and walk fearlessly towards that hieros, towards that balanced energy of masculine and feminine urges to both create and hold space and to build a life worth living. All right, we have, things to be resolved. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have now advice for the present. The Lady and the Unicorn hidden in plain sight. I love this. I love this so much. You guys I'll just have to share with you my horse painting that I've made. And that's 15. So it's speaking to a 6. It's speaking to that emerging from the shadow energy, but it's taking it to the next level. And Venus, as it approaches that placement, let's go ahead a week. And I feel that that will give us a surefire date as to where, oh, cool. It's happening a little bit quicker. So Wednesday, Mercury Day, the 24th. We're getting down to the minute, y'all. So it's actually on overnight, Tuesday the 23rd into the morning of July the 24th for my Eastern Standard Time Zone. For the rest of us, it'll be late evening to midday if you're out here in the Hawaiian Islands. And I feel that you can either ask for that dream guidance on the 22nd or the 23rd to get the most out of this energy. As Yeshua and Mary were meeting on the a higher vibrational plane, it was not the 3D, it was more of the 5 or 6D. Okay. Which would imply hidden in plain sight, right? Not everyone will comprehend your work and creations. Oh, I love this. It's perfect. Emerging from the shadow. Those that do will be enlightened by their meanings. Those that don't are not ready for them. We are not for everybody, okay? The early Arthurian romances were written to reveal the truth of the Church of Love, the Grail, and the bride and bridegroom through allegory. It is said that the love triangle of Guinevere, Arthur, and Lancelot was added to entertain Eleanor of Aquitaine while she was locked up by her husband, Henry II. Such stories were fashionable at the time, so we will overlook that aspect as a distraction. And noting that we are in the week of Gene Key 56, Shadow of Distraction, Gift of Enrichment, City of Intoxication. The 6 La Dame à la Licorne tapestries contain scenes from the Song of Songs and the Cathar Mysteries. The unicorn was used as a symbol for Christ. The lady was revered by the troubadours because they knew she was his bride, Mary Magdalene. So I actually had the Song of Songs printed out in my desk. How fabulous. And it's something that I studied during my Vipassana. My friend who's a Magdalene channel, Krista Marie Miller, pulled that card for me because I was having some issues processing the changes that my body's undergoing as I do the human garage fashion maneuvers and whatnot. So I advise for my card pile number 1 to read the Song of Songs, meditate with it, put it on your altar, and allow for it to work through you. The scenes of the bride and bridegroom appear in a fenced paradise garden with fertility symbols throughout, such as rabbits, fruits, and flowers. The carnation was a symbol for betrothal, and the periwinkle was the symbol for marriage. There's an open pavilion with a banner above the entrance saying, "A mon seul désir," which translates to as, "To my only desire." The Lion of Judah lies nearby. During the medieval period, the Great Grail heresy was kept in plain sight in art, music, and prose for future generations to decipher. Parables can be comprehended on many levels. The lessons gleaned depend on a person's knowledge, experience, and capacity for insight. You can carefully craft your work, values, and vision while hiding and protecting them in plain sight. So maybe it's time for my artists, for my creatives, to start putting in these ideas into your work to allow for it to come through you. You won't have to force, especially if you work with your dream state from the 22nd through the 23rd. All right, let's go back to current moment. And we have our 6 cards, which in this deck would be opinions. Joseph of Arimathea, plant your intentions deep. So we see here a hill and he's holding a staff. I also wish I could see exactly how long this call we're on for current meeting. It's all right, y'all. It's gonna be okay. Show meeting. There we go. And okay. Opinions. 4, and this is speaking about where the door is. So let's go back to the screen. We have to look at both Uranus and Pluto in Aquarius at 0 degrees. So if there's been any sort of boundary violations, we have to get really clear about expressing our needs for where the line is. And also Dana Claudette of the Tao of Dana spoke to cleaning out your junk drawer if you're having issues with boundaries. And we have Uranus at 26 degrees Taurus. I'm very delighted for those of my members. I'll be interviewing April. She is the assistant to Chris Reck of Menopon Tarot, and she's a Taurus sun. So we will get the inside scoop on what happened during this absolute rupture of our home values, our home life, what we see this earth as, and even the command to take back the planet is something that came up recently. An idea must have positive intentions behind it and be firmly placed in fertile ground if it is to take root. As it grows and flowers, the shape may change. Adapt an idea to the current time frame for the most beneficial results. Joseph of Arimathea, so I would say in the next 6 months, like make your 6-month goal list and get very specific with that. That's where the door is. That's where that boundary has to be with what you would like to see come to being from you entering into your light, emerging from the shadow, reclaiming your power and being very clear. Joseph of Arimathea was the chosen guardian of Mary Magdalene and her companions. After delivering them safely to Provence, he continued to travel by sea along his well-known trade routes. At one point, he sailed up the River Brue to a harbor in Glastonbury, where his party arrived weary all. The hill above the harbor bears the name today. He planted a staff in the ground where it burst into flower. The symbol for the bloodline of the royal house of David was a flowering staff. The prophecy of Isaiah says, a shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit, from Isaiah 11:1, New English Version. The tree has proven to be a Levantine thorn from the Middle East. Many pieces have been grafted over the years, and there are now holy thorn trees all over Glastonbury where they bloom at Christmas. Joseph would have carried exotic fabrics, amber, spices, and wine to trade for gold, copper, and tin. Amber was more valuable than gold, and there was an established amber trail, not unlike the Silk Road. At that time, there were canals alongside Magdalen Street for the movement of trade goods by barge. It is said that Joseph died in Glastonbury and was buried there. A well-rooted intention can change the fundamental essence of a people or place. With courage and conviction, you can also have the power to inspire and bring about change. When rooted in love, the universe will support your intentions. All right, that was pile number 1. And pile number 2, as I'm going to learn this deck with you all in this reading, I'm going to keep all the cards separate. So for pile number 2, we have Healer, and the card is the calling. You are beckoned. Wow, amazing. And she's got 3 scrolls with her, and there looks to be some spikenard or lavender in the hair, and there is, gosh, there's, what's this called? It's in my archetypes deck. Anything goes on these readings, y'all. So you're going to get the fullness for becoming a member. Here it is. The fault line. Fissure, the crack, the weak link. So when light, redefining reality, breaking open, when dark, precariousness, pretending in delusion. Imagine walking across a frozen lake that begins to crack before your eyes. No matter how optimistic and brave you might be, panic ensues. You become fearful and tense and long for stable ground. Such is the energy of the fault line. It's the energy of walking on eggshells, of precarious dynamics, of sensing what is ready to break open into chaos. It's likely this cracking open is overdue, as fault lines develop slowly and naturally from underlying elemental pressures. This card comes as a potent warning not to deny the shakiness that's afoot. It's much better to prepare yourself for change than to walk along the fault line pretending all is well. There is no easy fix for the situation at hand. It will require a foundational shift that alters the current dynamics from the ground up. Awesome. So it feels like you have some gifts that you cannot pretend that you don't have anymore. What I've heard too is that certain teachers, if they are not practicing with their gifts, it'll start to backfire. Their skills will start to make them sick. And I feel that with this being the underlying message, this focus and Queen of the Sun is saying that now is the time to set your sights on the calling so that you don't fall into the shadow of veiling yourself, which veiled is the next reading. I feel like that might be an outcome for all of us. Rhythm of the heart, awaken your dream. Wow. 3. So this is about belief, what we believe is possible. Let the sacred rhythm of your heart vibrate through the drum into the earth, resonate with Gaia's heart, then travel out into the universe. This will clear old energies to make room for what you wish to bring into your life. Drumming is a way of visualization and manifesting because it engages the conscious mind while allowing the subconscious mind the freedom to make a deeper connection with heart brain to heal and inspire. Drum beats can send thought forms through time and space to a chosen location or person you wish to communicate with, which is, I think, cleansing the energy, especially for a full moon. It reminds us of the comforting heartbeat and soothing safety of the mother's womb. Mary Magdalene and Sarah would have experienced the sacred rituals of other cultures in their travels. Legends and place names in Glastonbury lead us to believe they visited the area. There's Magdalen Street, Magdalen Close with her hospice and chapel, and the gate to Glastonbury Abbey, which was called the Magdalen Gate. Today, participants at goddess festivals and Magdalene events meet in circles to drum and dance to Gaia's heartbeat. This shamanic connection to the Earth Mother is both therapeutic and healing. Drum your dream into life. All right, so I want to just go through the cards as what the numbers represent. So this is your soulmate. The calling. You're a healer. Time. 2 is past issues. So it might have been that you've resisted tapping into your musical skills because of a fear of not. And I'm scratching my neck, so I'm, guilty here too. I've taken time away from my sound baths, and I'm going to get back to it for the full moon. Don't worry. By the time this is live, some of my new members, you guys will be seeing this, so you can see how the energy works through you, and sometimes it starts working you. All right. Oh, lovely, blessed be. 3 is future path. Incoming messages. And I love that it's a 3 to a 12, which is a net 3. So it's like your belief is just going to amplify and again start moving you. Small can be powerful. Don't overlook or dismiss something because of the size or humble appearance of the messenger. The information you receive could be highly significant to you and benefit the people around you. One of the pinnacles on the roof of the Rosslyn Chapel has a medieval carved stone flower with access for bees to create a hive. It was built to shelter these small messengers of God where men had no access to the hive. The honey would run down the interior wall on the left-hand side of the Rosslyn Chapel like a libation to Mary. In ancient Egypt, it was said that honeybees were created from the sun god's tears. We got Queen of the Sun as our underlying message. Perfect. They believed the bee could traverse from heavens and the underworld to bring back information. So that's like Mercury and Mercury's journey through Leo, Virgo, and then this upcoming retrograde. So the incoming messages will allow for you to take a new look at old gifts. The bee is one of the oldest symbols of Aphrodite, the goddess of love. The French used the bee to denote royalty. The Merovingians used the bee symbol to show their connection to the oldest of French royalty, imbued with the bloodline of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, descended from the royal house of David. The beehive is a matriarchal society. Perhaps they used the symbol to honor Mary Magdalene and Sarah, where the bloodline had originated and where it continued. We can learn to be like bees who gather pollen for themselves and their hive while doing good in the world. They pollinate plants to sustain nature and our environment, creating harmony and abundance. Blessed be. Yeah, if you Google search, we can just find it now, actually. Plants that would exist without bees. We would have, wow, a lot of vegetables, a lot of cucumbers, blueberries, apples, cherries. You wouldn't have coffee without bees. We need our bees. Oh my gosh. And I mean, as a plant-based person, I know that it's like almonds are in everything that's for plant-based people. So it seems like there's a very essential focal point that's actually going to come in for you guys with the intention to start your journey to answer the calling of your life. It's like something that was not ever able to focus. It's like trying to take a picture when the screen is a little murky. It finally comes into focus without you having to do anything, just as you accept the calling in your life. All right, your soulmates. Sorry, things to be resolved. I think this is regarding your soulmate. Magdalene meditating retreat. You see the two wolves. I saw a funny meme that was like, I don't have two wolves inside of me. I have these guys. And it was like all of the kami from Miyazaki's works. All right, so that's 35. So it's a decision that needs to be made. It's not time to approach and intrude on someone's privacy. Give them space. Forward motion is not recommended. Wait, be patient, and things will turn out well. So this came up in Pisces weekly reading. They got the card that said no. Full sentence. Mary Magdalene liked to venture out into the wilderness to meditate alone. Wolves and other forest creatures would guard her in her vulnerable state of deep concentration and protect her from inquisitive intruders. In her trance state, she was able to rise to the higher vibrational fields of etheric planes and meet with Jeshua. In this way, her knowledge and teachings for her disciples would increase and expand. The Gnostic Gospels tell of a man who followed Mary into the wilderness to see what she did there. A pack of wolves surrounded him, staring silently. When Mary appeared, she rebuked the disciple for disturbing her without having been invited. She was often called the mistress of the forest because she could commune with wild creatures, and they were honored to protect her from harm. She communicated with spirits of all living things and the earthly mother herself as personified by Sophia, Shekinah, and Gaia. As guardians, animals have highly developed senses that recognize the different vibrations and intentions emanating from human beings. You can reach deeper, into all levels of consciousness when you feel protected by animal allies. So let's see what animal messengers have been coming up for you. Write them down, record them. And you did get the bee in your reading, which feels very pertinent and quite sacred. Okay, so now, and that also feels like with your companion, your loved one, your counterpart, you might need to go into the higher states with their higher self, because, you know, I know that we can all be fixed on someone. We can have a fixation if we're not currently with this partner. We're not like in their phone as my baby or whatever. And what we want to connect with is the higher self of our beloved and start to bring them in through connecting through that. And we might have an image of someone, which is kind of like the same thing as Eastern Christianity. They have a lot of figures that remind them of the divine. And if there's a physical person who you think of that sends you into an agape love to where it's more spiritual than physical, you're not thinking about what they could do for you. You're thinking about the love and commitment and devotion you have for them. That's sufficient. But we want to abstract the face, the name, the qualities of the known person and go into those higher states to draw them in. So 5, advice for the present. All right. Healers, advice for the present. Awake in the dream, embrace new possibilities. Looks beautiful. Looks like what I was just telling y'all about. What did that say? 40, and it says, it speaks to belonging. The 4 is the door, so it also would be clear boundaries, which could be as clear as you saying, this is how I would like to feel. This is how I would not like to feel. I did that to manifest my marriage, to manifest my husband, and I connected with his avatar, with his higher self. All possibilities exist in the source field. If you can consciously dream, you can draw blueprints into 3rd density and manifest. As long as you do no harm to others, love is creative energy that vibrates at the highest frequency on all levels of existence. Literally what I just said. Right. So let's just read it so I can learn the deck with you all. In the darkness, you may see pale blue lights darting around the room. These lights are spirit essence, which radiates throughout space from source. With focus and intent, gather the lights into a ball like gathering your chi. It will compact into your creation you envision. From there, observe it delicately without attachment or desire for an outcome. Yeah, there might be too much of an attachment to a person, place, thing, idea, a number, something that you know, and we need to start embracing what the potential is. You may allow yourself to be passively drawn into the imaginary and go into a lucid dream state or out-of-body experience where you can gather more information and have further experiences. These conscious visions will be as real to you as anything occurring in the 3rd density matrix, and perhaps more illuminating and precious. Joshua and Mary knew their souls would always be together even when they weren't in physicality. They were truly awake in the dream. Practice staying conscious in your dream state. You can achieve this with focus and practice. It will become easier every time you succeed, as that part of the brain will be stimulated and opened up to the simulation. Once the door is unlocked, it becomes a very natural process. And again, that is, again, focusing on something that you know, but abstracting all attachment to it because it's going to come in a different form. Ooh. Opinions, which is card 6, but we got 2. You got Stella Maris, which is trust, and holding the seeds. So we're going to do a quickie on both just so that we can get to our 3rd pile. And these are in order. They wanted to be shown together. Trust. This is the opinion. Sometimes you have to wait and see where the journey is leading you. It's not time to push forward, but to flow with the current. Use your powers of observation and reflection, and then holding the seeds of fertility. The time is ripe and the ground is fertile for your new project. Whether it is creating or designing a new life or starting a new venture, the time is now, healer. Answer the call. All right. Mary Magdalene is the patron saint of sailors because she and her companions arrived safely in France without oars or sails. The Templar archivist of the Roslin Chapel, Robert Burdon, took this author to a Mary Star of the Sea church near Edinburgh. He showed them evidence that all churches by the name were not dedicated to Mother Mary, but Mary Magdalene. The Mary Star of the Sea churches followed the ancient trade route. This makes perfect sense when you look at a map of them, all placed along the Templar Sea Circuit and the ports they would frequent leading up to and beyond Northern Ireland. There is even a church near Carlingford, Lough, where the sacred Templar scrolls were buried. The author's motherline with the surname of Marion still lives on the coast of southern England. Their coat of arms is a large red equal-armed engraved Templar cross, a symbol of Grail family. That's so amazing. I'm painting a brown cross right now, but I wanted to make it red. Guess I'll do that. On the coasts of Devon and Cornwall, the place names are historical fossils of the past. It starts with the Devon border, which is the River Tamar, King David's daughter, then the Roseland Peninsula to the Mazarin, Princess of Zion, and finally to the Penzance meeting Holy Headland, with its main street called Market Jew Street after Joseph of Arimathea. These names were purposely placed. It's sometimes difficult to stay in the present, but this is a time to remain patient and calm. Your destination will appear on the horizon with a path to go forward. All right, we're just going to read this one and then move on to pile number 3. It just feels like you guys need to keep sowing the seeds because there is a path that you're following, but you need to work with lucid dreaming, lucid imagination nightly. And we did say to work with your dream state on the 22nd and 23rd. Holding the seeds of fertility. The time is ripe and the ground is fertile for your new project. Whether it's creating or designing a new life or starting a new venture, the time is now. Mary Magdalene is holding the holy fruit. She is with the child, and although she must conceal it for a moment, the baby is burgeoning and growing daily. Her innermost smile is glowing with a secret that dwells within her, and her heart is full. The pomegranate is a universal symbol of fertility and spring. Because of its many seeds, it was thought to represent fertility of man. It also symbolizes eternity and the indissolubility of marriage. It is said King Solomon designed his crown on the pomegranate's serrated crown-like flower bud. He also decorated the walls of his temple in Jerusalem with its image. In many ancient writings, the pomegranate was considered a holy fruit found in the Garden of Paradise. It's possible that the fruit of knowledge was not an apple, but a red pomegranate. As a symbol of immortality throughout the ancient world, Mary Magdalene would have known the significance of this fruit. Egypt's Ebers papyrus dates around 1500 before Common Era and is one of the oldest medical texts. It lists the healing properties of the pomegranate. Its health benefits are recognized by modern science and attributed to high levels of phytochemicals, one of the naturally occurring medicine of the plant kingdom. It was one of the first fruits cultivated in the Middle East. Whether creating or designing a new life or new venture, it's time for you to get started. Don't let this moment pass you by, but keep the idea secret until you are ready to birth it into the world. Oh my gosh. I feel like this came up in Pisces reading or else daily astrology to make sure that we are protecting our projects with a paywall, with some sort of a boundary, because we need to ensure that we are keeping this knowledge sacred, that it's being held in a sacred container with people who honor our gifts and we're not throwing our pearls to swine. Okay, veiled. Ooh, pile number 3, the unknown journey. Embrace the unfamiliar. And we see dolphins here. Dolphins have been coming up quite a lot today for me. I don't know about you guys, but this is a 2 and that speaks to the moon. So that is your soulmate's joy, a feeling of joy. And oh my gosh, how funny is this? This is pomegranate lip balm. Go figure. So again, the underlying card is Queen of the Sun. Nothing is lost that cannot be found in focus. So maybe it's you feel that you've gotten distant from joy, the sensation of joy. I wanted to just shuffle this deck and then we're gonna get to reading what your soulmate is. Embrace the unfamiliar. If you feel destined to travel and share your gifts and ideas, trust in the journey. It might be a physical journey, an inner pursuit such as writing a book, a spiritual memoir, or acting as a guide or teacher. Circumstances and events will arise to make your route known. Sarah journeyed from Egypt to the Camargue in France when she was between 9 and 12 years old. She must have known fear on that journey from time to time. Later in life, it was her destiny to take her bloodline and healing gifts to other shores. There was a well-established trade route between North Africa and Ireland, as evidenced by the Egyptian and Moroccan influences around Irish DNA, music, and language. Traveling overland through thick forests was nearly impossible. So the seafarers ruled the day and influenced the cultures near to the coastline. Staying in one place would not have as great an impact on humanity or facilitate the expansion of as many people's consciousness. Knowing this, Sarah traveled. If you have a calling, don't ignore that spark of inspiration or fear leaving familiar territory. In the play King Lear, Shakespeare says, "Nothing will come of nothing." This card prompts you to do something rather than nothing. You will benefit from your actions or you will learn from them. So go out there and take the unknown journey. All right, and veiled, it might even be an inner journey that leads to an outer journey. So let's see. Past issues. What are past issues? Free reign, break loose. This coming up in past issues feels that there was a lot of movement. And now we have a belief of where our heart belongs, and that's opening the door to past issues so we can finally know it and reconcile it once and for all. Step out of your routine, cut loose, and run wild for a while. An oppressive lifestyle is not healthy for your body or spiritual growth. Be spontaneous. After living in secrecy and concealing her pregnancy, Mary and her family were warned by Jeshua to leave Galilee. Joseph of Arimathea was deeply honored to be chosen to accompany Mary and promised Jeshua he would be her guardian. He did not take this sacred trust lightly and remained with her until his death, which some have recorded occurred in England. They were under scrutiny in Galilee as the Romans heard rumors that the bloodline of Jeshua continued through a child born to Mary Magdalene. The soldiers had orders to put the child to death. Joseph led the family safely to Egypt until the child, Princess Sarah, was old enough to travel at a great distance. The group was then sent into exile in a boat with no sails or oars. After many miracles, they landed in Provence at the Saintes Marie de la Mer. With flocks of pink flamingos and native wild horses galloping through the waves, the region called the Camagüey must have seemed like a paradise to them. Mary was able to enjoy her freedom at last. Sarah became known as Sarah la Kali, a beloved patroness of the Romani people to this day. Recharge and release. Stress can be stifling. Throw off your shackles and don't be afraid to run feral and free. Ride the wild white horse. Okay, so we have to pull from the Kali Oracle, y'all, because Sarah Kali, hello, it's beautiful. We have Durga Kalika. Y'all know I need my books. These are not the traditional tarot, so I get into it. She is fierce divine justice and unyielding resolution in favor of the light. She is every method and means necessary to ensure success for the soul. She is the unexpected victory arising at the very moment when all seems lost, transforming tragedy into triumph. She is our spiritual sun, our light, and our ever radiant reminder that from the darkest night, a new dawn shall always arise. Dare to trust more in your faith than your fear. For every problem that can arise, there are many more divine solutions unfolding even now. This oracle guides you to allow divine intervention to support you during the battles taking place in your life or your mind. If you feel that darkness is gaining higher ground and your ability to trust in the face of the unknown is being challenged, fear not. And this is coming from the veiled as the underlying influence. Durga Kalika arises when we have an unusually difficult challenge and the ways we usually support ourselves are insufficient to deal with these circumstances effectively. We need to be open to inspiration and willing to adapt so that the light within us is protected and the pathway ahead continues to unfold without unnecessary future difficulties, even if that takes us beyond our usual methods of operation. It is a portent of unexpected success, even when everything appears to be going against you. You can trust that the tide of the most virulent negativity can turn swiftly and decidedly. Beautiful. So we need to see what that was our past issues, future path. I wanted to read more about that colleague card, but I will let it rock. 33, the mystique of Magdalene, deep reflection. Love that that's a 33. Look deeply into the flame. Visualize the purification of fire burning through your deepest negative thoughts. The ones you've kept and held for so long. Emerge from those ashes knowing you're free to move on in love. You all are pile number 3 and you got 33 as your third card. I feel that there's a really healthy change coming up for your future. Isis, the Egyptian mother goddess, is known as she of 10,000 names and 10,000 faces. Similarly, the Gnostics believe Mary Magdalene keeps reincarnating to assist humanity. In 2,000 years, her soul could have returned to Earth with 33 names and 33 faces. Her enigmatic countenance and wisdom might be recognized, but here, in an unnamed face, her eyes are closed. She holds the candle of her infinite soul transcendent. She is part of you as sister, mother, and daughter. Mary's teachings declare that there is no knowledge, understanding, or wisdom without love. Power without love is evil and will give birth to evil. And evil comes from the thought of fruit being unripe. So it's not yet fully developed by the Queen of the Sun. So we just have to focus and keep building, just as that fruit of the womb, it was in reading number 2, holding the seeds, is something that keeps sowing in secret, in the secret of your heart, whatever it is. Where there is love, power will be exercised with wisdom. Priestess, beloved bride, and Jeshua's eternal muse. Mary embodies the Shekinah, Sophiatic principles of the goddess of love and equal partnership with her God. Meditate on Mary Magdalene and connect to her transcendent field of love. She is there to help you. Many groups around the world evoke her presence as she is the archetype of the modern woman. Men are also involved as they could feel their role in the sacred marriage and are empowered. Beautiful. Okay. Things to be resolved. The truth is revealed. Revelation. Amazing. The power of truth will work miracles in your life. As you align your soul personality with source, speak with integrity, people will not be able to unknow the truth once it's said. Mary Magdalene holds the white feather of truth. Her story must be known, and the lost bride returned to her bridegroom to restore balance to the earth. Mary would have been no stranger to the Egyptian mysteries, and she may have been a priestess of Isis and Ma'at herself. Ma'at was the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic order. She was more than just a goddess to the ancient Egyptians. They believed the universe had an order to it, and it was Ma'at who kept everything in balance. Ma'at was extremely important for accessing the afterlife. After physical death, every person had to pass through the hall of judgment, where their heart was weighed against Ma'at's white feather of truth. If the deceased person's heart balanced with Ma'at's white feather, they could continue on their journey to the afterlife. If not, their journey ended in the abyss. This belief influenced the morals and actions in the daily life of the ancient Egyptians. Speaking your truth may open you up to ridicule, but think of yourself as planting seeds for people to ponder on. Later, they may take growth, root, and flower. That came up for me. Krista Marie Miller, Magdalene Channel, she pulled this card for me whenever I asked about why I was getting ignored by people and, kind of feeling like there was a lot of chatter behind my back. So this card did speak to what's like being hidden and coming to light. So I feel that for those of my people who picked pile number 3, there's an inner journey that has to be taken over the course of this full moon. Okay. And then for 4, you got 44. Love it. 5, advice for the present. The anointing, transformation. Okay, I don't know if we're gonna need the chart right now. Love this. For those of you guys seeking some beautiful oils, just know I got my Sea products. I just ordered the Goddess package. So that's why I'm kind of dewy and glowing, along with some other products that I have. Gosh, I'm blanking on the name of some of the things I use, but the skin likes variety, so it's important to give the skin what it wants inside and out. Infuse spirit into matter through ceremony. When done with conscious intent, ritual is powerful and you become priest or priestess, evoking the divine. The anointing ceremony was the primary way to sanctify and divinely appoint Jewish kings, priests, and prophets. Anointment empowers a person to function as an instrument of the divine and is believed to enable them to act supernaturally. The enthronement ceremonies of European monarchies have included anointment for thousands of years. When Mary Magdalene anointed Jeshua with fragrant holy oil, he was forever changed. It was considered that direct contact with the divine was made through this ritual. It was a sacred promise and an act that led to transformation. Mary was the priestess to the priest, embodying the great Sophia or the Shekinah, and performing the ceremony as part of the sacred marriage. As part of the ritual, she broke the sacred alabaster jar containing the oil so it could not be used for any other purpose. In both Hebrew and Greek, Christ means the anointed one. Wow. Protect your altar and ritual items by putting them in a safe place. Find an area where they will not be mishandled by those who do not respect your journey. You are a priest or a priestess in your own right. Not bad. And 20 does speak to passion. So it seems that we need to kind of reorient our sense of like who is allowed within our orbit. I'm actually painting a work about that kind of story. So it's interesting how the painting wants to come through. I'm taking it really slow, and I intend to finish it by the time my year-long art class starts back up. So that was number 5, and number 6 is opinions. All right. File number 3, what opinions do we have from the Mystique of Magdalene? Sarah and the White Spring, fill your sacred chalice. So that's 1. Your cup is waiting to be filled. Be discerning about what you allow to fill it. And that also speaks to that altar space. When Sarah and Joseph of Arimathea visited Glastonbury, they would have experienced the springs and wells. In Roman times, they were simple stone structures, but still venerated as holy and extraordinary. 2 springs flow beneath Glastonbury Tor. One runs red with iron, the other white with calcium. These sacred waters of life have been frequented for their healing properties for thousands of years and continue to flow today. That's interesting to think about because we have a water purifier that takes out the calcium and the iron. Magical wells such as the legend of the prophetess Miriam's well would have been known to Sarah. Abundant fresh water would follow Miriam and mysteriously appear to nourish and quench the thirst of the Israelites as they wandered through the desert. The legend says the well gave forth its water when Miriam and 12 elder women went into the wilderness to sing songs from their hearts to the Shekinah. So long as Miriam lived as the divine feminine principle, the well was a fountain of living water that sustained her people. The source of sustenance and strength dried up on her death. Today, there is a custom of placing a goblet of water on the table to represent Miriam's well. Its presence is an opportunity to honor the significance of Miriam and the role women play in the life of the Jewish people. You hold sovereignty over your grail. Don't be pressured to accept less than you deserve. Placing a chalice of sacred water by your bed is conducive to experiencing visions that will offer you answers. All right, it seems that that is the lock and key. Thank you all for tuning in to this sacred activation of the pick a card reading. Let me know how this reading went for you. Please feel free to email me as well as leave me comments because I will check those out, and I look forward to our next reading. Thank you so much for being a member to this channel. See you all soon. Aloha.